Hello, welcome back to another episode on Red Bull. If you enjoy my videos, please subscribe and leave a like. Let's get into the story now. Thanks everyone for the kind words and advice.
Original story. Wife 33F admitted to cheating on me 33M with my best friend 32M during Thanksgiving dinner. The day after Thanksgiving because I honestly have no clue what to do. My wife, my best friend, the love of my life since 10th grade, cheated on me with my best friend. I am absolutely shattered. To give some backstory, me and my wife, I'll call her Mel, have been dating since high school. When I met her in 9th grade, she was dating T, my best friend in this story. At that time, me and T were okay friends, although not that close. After meeting her, I became quickly infatuated with my wife. All of freshman year of high school I would pray that her and T would break up so that I would have a chance. Eventually, it happened, and in 10th grade I befriended her and asked her out. Our relationship was one of the best things that happened to me all of high school. And her company sustained me through what was overall a pretty crappy 4 years. Seeing as they were just freshmen when they dated, T didn't see all that bothered that I was dating his ex, even giving me his blessing when I asked if it was okay. By senior year we were close buddies, and there was absolutely no reason to believe that he held any animosity toward me for getting with his ex-girlfriend from freshman year. Us three all went to the same local state school for college, where I kept my relationship with my wife and my close friendship with T. There were times when it became blatantly clear that T was attracted to my wife. Like when I caught him staring at her during parties, and when one of my other friends told me that T had confided in him a desire to fuck my wife. While that bothered me, my wife is very attractive, so I understood that other guys, including my friends, will inevitably be attracted to her. And as long as they don't make a move, I don't really care. Overall though, it was very clear he was heavily attracted to her. And over the years we have been friends, he has always made sly comments about her attractiveness and about how lucky I was. Once even commenting on her ass shape. Fast forward to over a decade later to this year. Me and my wife now have 2 beautiful children, a son and a daughter, and are married. While T is recently divorced from his ex-wife. It was a pretty brutal divorce. So recently, over the past few months, T had been in a deep depressive state. I wanted to be there emotionally for him, but simply couldn't because the demands of my job as well as mental problems I had been dealing with myself consumed all my time. My wife stepped in and helped as he was going through his stuff. They had never been that close since college. And my wife disliked T's womanizing tendencies. But after T's divorce and my wife being there for him, I noticed a definite change in their attitude for each other. Whenever T would come over to chill with me, my wife would always sit next to him as well as laugh at his jokes. As well as go out of her way to ask when he was coming over next time. I noticed this and it bothered me. But didn't want to ask because I didn't want to come off as possessive, as well as liked how T had someone to be there for him when I couldn't. It continued to the point where my wife started to go over to T's house to hang out with him while I was at work. Eventually around September I snapped and told my wife that I was uncomfortable with how much time they were spending together. Instead of getting mad or calling me controlling, she apologized and said she had gotten caught up in the friendship and would respect my boundaries. I asked her if she was attracted to T and she admitted that yes. She felt some attraction and T had flirted with her, but he had never made a move and that they had never done anything. Just this news struck my heart, and I told my wife I didn't want her to hang out with T anymore. She agreed and apologized for her actions. For the next couple weeks everything seemed fine, with the exception that I started avoiding T. At the beginning of this month, however, me and my wife got into a blow-up fight over financial issues. She has been struggling to find work since the pandemic has been winding down, and despite a very flexible labor market, for some reason no one would hire her. My job is not enough to support a 4-person household, so we had been in a lot of stress financially. The argument got so bad that she walked out and didn't return until several hours later. I didn't ask where she had been, but she seems almost disheveled and had an odd look on her face. Despite this, I never questioned her about her whereabouts, as I really at that point didn't feel like talking to her. Now fast forward to Thanksgiving, where my entire family, as well as some of my friends including T, who at this point I haven't talked to in over a month, were invited. The conversation over dinner was going well until politics was brought up. Me and T are on completely opposite sides of the political spectrum. Him being a hardcore Trumper and me being a liberal. Please don't argue over politics in the comment section. Generally we avoided discussing politics in our relationship, but for some reason today he seemed adamant to discuss it. It quickly turned heated, with the conversation turning personal, with T yelling that my liberalism was a sign of my timidness and failure to be a man. I asked him where that had come from, and he responded that I couldn't even satisfy my wife sexually. This completely shocked me and whole dinner table, as me and my wife never discussed our sex life in front of anyone. And the rest of the dinner was fairly awkward and full of silence. After dinner, when everyone had begun leaving, I confronted my wife and T. She started at the ground while he stared me in the eyes and admitted to fucking my wife on November 4th. The day we had the blow-up fight. He said she came over seeking advice and they ended up hugging, with him making a move. He said she initially resisted and said it was wrong, but eventually gave in and they had sex. The whole time my wife was silent and starting at the floor. Instead of feeling anger, I felt utter shock and couldn't get a word out. After a few minutes of silence, T just left and I was alone with my wife. She broke down crying, saying that it's as the worst mistake of her life, and that the stress of my work, taking care of our children, as well as my personal issues which lead to me being non-attentive to her, made her feel undesired, and that T's attention and flirting made her feel good. She said she was never planning to do anything with T, even though he had hinted at wanting to sleep with her when they hung out, and was just gonna use him for attention while I was absent. She said it was as the weakness of the moment after our fight that led her to have sex with him. I told her to get out of my face and that I needed time alone to think. She went up to her room and came down to try to talk and plead with me, but every time I screamed at her to get out of my face. Now sitting here writing this, I am absolutely devastated. The thought of my wife sleeping with another man tears me apart, to the point where I've never felt pain this harsh. I want to stay with her as she is the love of my life, but I don't know what to believe. Did they really have sex only once? Was it really an innocent mistake because of stress? I don't know. I want to stay with my wife more than anything though. So what are your guys' thoughts on this?
Thank you for watching.